Hello Capricorn friends, I am going to give you a comprehensive report of how you can expect these January eclipses or this January 10th eclipse to affect you. We often feel eclipses way before they actually happen. Eclipses as an astronomical event happen on the day they happen, but as an astrological event, they're part of a longer cycle. And in this case, there's a storyline that's been going on since the middle of 2018 that goes through the middle of 2020. And we're at another chapter in that storyline. And so there's changes that have been happening in the backdrop, and then at eclipse time they come into the forefront, and then in between the eclipse time they sort of fade a little bit, and then eclipse time they come back up. So I'm going to give you lots of details about where you're likely to see the drama, the sudden changes, the just like surprise trajectory shifts, the dramatic endings, the blissful new beginnings, what areas of life are likely to come up as themes for you. And remember that these might start to cook up in November. So I always post these early so that you can understand what is coming. You can watch it as the timeline, that's been happening prior to now to kind of understand that another chapter is going to be coming up here. Okay, so I finally figured out how to do a split screen video, so now you can see me while I am talking about the charts. This report is for you if you have Capricorn Moon, Capricorn Rising, or Capricorn Sun. The Capricorn or the Moon, Sun, and Rising placements are all windows we look out of the doors or out of the house of our experience. So like this window out here has one view and that window over there has one view, but both of those are the view of my experience here as I'm traveling in the RV, and they're both true at the same time. So that's why I recommend you watch for your rising sign and your sun at least, and if it's not overwhelming to you, you can also throw in watching for your moon. To best use the information I'm going to give you, we have to understand where you're at on the spectrum of the Capricorn placement. So there are 30 degrees in Capricorn sign. Early Caps are basically December born or 0 to 9 degrees. Middle are about January 1st through 10th or 10 to 19 degrees. And late January 11th through the rest of the sign or 20 to 29 degrees. I have my moon in Cap, so I am here with you late degree people. Always remember, if you're super late degree like I am, Aquarius reports may actually have more resonance. Now, I will always speak to late degree people, so you'll be covered with me here. But in other people's reports, late degree people at the end of the sign, like close to the next sign, you may want to also watch the reports for Aquarius, and you can also watch my Aquarius reports and see if they have any more information or give you more tidbits. Okay, so now that we have that out of the way, basically, the summary is all zodiac signs are likely to have changes, for better or worse, drama, fruition in the fourth house, because Cancer rules the fourth house. So the energies of the fourth house, which I'm going to go into lots of details about how I've seen this manifest, that's going to be true for all Caps and all zodiac members. All early, middle, and late degree Capricorn placements are also going to have the chance for a 7th house manifestation. Okay, I'm going to tell you what that means in a second. We're just laying the groundwork here. Middle and late degree people, you may also have 6th house manifestations. Okay, so I'm just going to give you a very quick visual on why this is different if you have a different placement. And this is very eye-opening for many people. If you're doing whole house astrology, this isn't relevant. And I think that all types of astrology are relevant and helpful, and they hold a piece of the bigger picture. There's room for everything. I do Placidus astrology, and in Placidus, where you're at in the spectrum can change how you can experience it. And this information is going to be true at the same time. All right, so when we're looking for 20 degrees of Cancer, gotta move this guy over a little bit. Cancer is over here, okay? So for early degree placements, that's very clearly going to be in the 7th house. If you're a middle degree person, okay, just notice with me, see how as your degree changes, the clusters change. Okay, so early, this cluster's here. Well, middle, all this drops back. And for the late, it drops back even more. See that cluster? So that's why I spend the time on these details, okay? So if you're a middle degree person and you've got a 20 degree eclipse, that's going to be on the line here. So for some of you, that will be in the 7th house. But since it's so close to the line of the 6th house, you may see the manifestation there. And late degree friends, this drops you back where some of you may actually experience that eclipse directly in the 6th house. But for all late degree placements, it's still going to be close enough to that 7th house line that you're also going to have the chance for manifestation there. These lines are not like big walls in China. You know, this is not like that Great Wall. These are lines in the sand. Like you're on one side of it, then you're on the other side of it, and it's like, whoa, it's kind of the same thing. So these lines, if you have something happening close to them, it really could be in both places, okay? So now I'm going to give you an in-depth tutorial of what I have seen over doing thousands of live readings, horoscopes for years, looking at charts for decades, what I've seen these 7th house changes for eclipses bring. And remember, that's true for all of you. 4th house as well. I'm going to drop in that tutorial. That's going to be true for all of you. And if you are middle degree or late degree person, so basically all of our January born or 10 to 29 degrees, which is going to be most of you, stay tuned after the 4th house tutorial because I'm going to drop in a 6th house tutorial, and that's also going to be true for you. Okay, so let's check out all of these tutorials now. Eclipses are major astronomical events, and they're also major astrological events. They bring things into the focus in a major way, and although sometimes during eclipse cycles, certain individuals are not as notably or obviously affected, but sometimes these changes are more subtle, and we have to look harder to see that there's a paradigm shift at play or something else working in the inner realms that aren't necessarily manifest in a huge way. A lot of how we experience an eclipse will depend on the exact degree of the eclipse sign and how that interacts with our placements. So it's very complex, but certain things are very common, which is an increase in focus on the field of experience that the sign or house rules, drama, for better or worse, dramatic conclusions, brilliant new openings, or movement along chapters, closing of a chapter, opening of a new chapter in certain areas. So when there's an eclipse in the 7th house or Libra, one of the biggest things is relationships. A new relationship comes in, an old relationship ends, or even a new relationship ends, beginnings and endings of relationships, or movement along a continuum of key relationships, or the relationship to relationship. What comes up a lot at this time is the topic of codependency. Codependency extends beyond even what the AA definition was, and the way that codependency was originally defined was that there was an alcoholic or a substance abuser, they were the addict, and then the codependent was the person who kind of had to dance around the erratic nature of living with someone who's an addict. But then, of course, things get more complex because a lot of people who have addictions also have codependency issues where they draw in other people who have problems. And basically, the main point the way I define codependency is that it's a boundary disease or a boundary issue. And so eclipses in the 7th house or Libra tend to bring up boundary topics. Are you setting too many boundaries and blocking out intimacy that you want? Are you not setting enough boundaries? Are you setting boundaries in a way that you're going to get what you want? Or are they from fear? Are they from old programming? The question of boundaries is one of the biggest things that I see coming up. So, movement along in gaining what I call interdependence, where, yes, we need other people. We need to interact with other people. It's part of being human to connect with others. But how we do that and the fulfillment that we have or don't have, the patterns that we brought with us into our current relationships that we have to or get a chance to own, so being really accountable at this time with owning what made us be attracted to a certain type of person or a certain type of situation and doing the inner work to be able to shift our vibrational magnetism for certain types of situations rather than just blaming another person. Eclipses in the 7th house or in Libra also often bring in perfect practitioners or helpers. So, or bring endings to those relationships. So maybe you've been working with a practitioner for a while and you complete your work with them. Or maybe you've had someone working for you or you've been working with. So, agreements about working together with someone can come to an end. It can come to a fruition, like you reach the goal or the objective. Or you can have a new practitioner or a new helper come in. This time is really great for finding people to help you in any area of life, whether it's a counselor or, a mechanic or an assistant or anything like that. Can, eclipse in or end or change a relationship to those things or with any of those people. And so in general, agreements come in a big way. Coming to an agreement on a topic that needs mediation or is in mediation or where there's a disagreement, there's often notable movement when there's a 7th house or Libra eclipse having to do with agreements between people. Aesthetics and design is another topic that also comes up. So new design projects, new ways of, working your space or working your wardrobe or, artwork or anything like that can come in. So new systems for your aesthetics, redesign, design projects, or if your work is in design, that can be highlighted as well. This time is also really great for movement along if you're trying to build clients, like a client relationships. Certain clients could be eclipsed out, or certain ways of relating to them, or how you go about interacting with them. So that's also included in the relationship space. So in general, the 7th house in Libra eclipses will feature relationships and your relationship to relationships and any key people in your life and your agreements with them. Anything unresolved in relationships are often going to come up, and anything that's been worked on can come to a magical fruition. Okay, so eclipses tend to bring changes in trajectory, new opportunities, coming to fruition of things in process, surprises, drama, bright openings, notable things in the forefront of home and family, and some other headers. So we're going to look at some common ways that I have seen the 4th house or Cancer eclipses manifest. Home and housing. So many people will move during an eclipse cycle where there's a 4th house or Cancer eclipse, moving to a new place. Some people, this will include like a bilocation or a multiple location. Like if you have a house already, you can set up a second residence or a different residence in addition to the one you already have. For some people, it manifests as just a complete, clean, different move. Sometimes it's a temporary move or a temporary change in housing. This energy very much can rule sales, or sales or purchases of homes, getting a home ready for sale, purchasing a new home. Even though eclipse time very often brings these into the forefront, definitely always pay attention to the other information I give for the horoscopes at that time to understand how other transits that can be occurring at the same time as the eclipse season can interfere or enable contractual arrangements and big steps. Very often, a 4th house eclipse will have to do with the changing of occupancy within your home. So let's say you're there and you stay there and the house is the same, but someone moves out or someone moves in. Or you start using your home for home-based business. The starting of a home-based business is very common. Bringing on, an Airbnb or any other home-based business where you're working online. Making repairs or making additions or changes to the home. And again, with these kind of things, definitely pay attention to the other aspects of the time because, minor repairs can be fine at any time, but if you're going to do major additions, there are other astrological factors that I always speak to in the horoscopes that can be relevant. But I do see these eclipses tend to bring movement along these fronts with things like this. changes in or notable things going on in family, and that's your family that you live with or your family that you came from. Drama, solutions, healings, people getting married, so there's new entrances to the family, people having separations, children, new children coming into the family. I see a focus on ancestry and genealogy come up very often in this. You might find out you have a relative that, is notable. You might connect with someone in your genealogy. You may become really interested in tracking your ancestry or genealogy. Or someone may contact you. Childhood psychology is another thing I see come up. There are rhythms at play in our lives, and and things tend to be cyclical. So the things that you're experiencing now, a lot of the ways that you feel right now, you felt as a child, and that had to do with childhood imprinting and many other factors. But the relationship between what you're experiencing now and what happened as a child, and possibly even prior to, if you believe in past lives or if you believe in genetic memory manifesting as our experience. So, attention to what's happening now as it relates to the past and doing inner work to help stop the cycles for yourself and your family. So that I see that often come up with the fourth house eclipses or Cancer eclipses. So in general, with the fourth house or Cancer eclipse, be prepared to focus on your inner world, or the things closest to you, like home level, family level, history, and your emotional or inner space. Eclipse time tends to bring drama, fruition, major changes, major trajectory shifts, things that are surprises, things that are moving along a continuum that you've been working on, so a major fruition. So basically, it's a very active time of change and emotion. When there's an eclipse in the 6th house or in Virgo, health is a very big focus. For some people, this will actually result in a health crisis. If there's something that's been undercover that has not been in the light or that you have not been aware of, sometimes that can be brought to light. For others, it could be movement along a continuum of the health practices or of diagnosis or of solutions or something where there's something notable. Finding of a perfect practitioner, doing labs or diagnostics, and getting into a healing or wellness routine. So anything having to do with finding a new practitioner, whether it's in the mainstream path or the alternative path, finding a new modality has a major impact, finding a new, practitioner. And this can also have to do with one's own wellness path turning into a practitioner path. So you stepping into wellness as a practitioner, because this house and this sign also rules work, your vocation. It's partly related to the vocation. And if you are in any of those lines of work, medical, alternative, or mainstream, then work can be highlighted as a major sector, major closings in your work of how you do your work, major openings in how you're shifting into the next level of your work, if you've already started this process. New gym memberships, new diets, things that rule your daily experience in yoga practice. Yoga is in here, meditation, acupuncture, all of that. Surgeries, any kind of procedure that's medical. Getting into the details of a bigger picture. So this time often will give you a download or a necessity from the outside or an impetus from the inside to start to work on the details and get a system together for your life, like even where you put your keys when you come in, how you do your maintenance on your vehicles and home, just everything, the systems on which everything in your life runs, those can be called into question and brand new routines can come. I see this happen or manifest a lot in either moving or a temporary lodging or going somewhere else or changing a job or, something major happening to your life where what your daily routine is changes in a big way. I also see pets being highlighted at this time. Sometimes a new pet comes in, sometimes a current pet needs more attention, or you have more time and focus, or you start, a new training regimen with them, or something related to pets. Your pets could have some symptoms, and definitely at this time it would be important to follow up with those things because things undercover tend to come out at this time. And sometimes there's a transition for a pet. Whether it's going into a different home or whether it's, transitioning out of body. So things involving pets and other animals. Sometimes people who work with animals will see, this manifestation show up along those fronts. People in the veterinary field, people doing healing work, equine therapy. And again, there could be this thing having to do with you wanting to do your wellness for work and moving along that process. One of the most important things at this time is to not ignore your symptoms or your pet's symptoms. Symptoms in eclipse season are showing us the things that are brewing undercover, and paying attention to them and being proactive could make for an easier process and even better outcomes. Decluttering and organizing in a big way, like doing some sort of major process. One of my favorite resources for this is The Magical Art of Tidying Up by Marie Kondo. She also has another book called Spark Joy. Things like that, where there's like a system for organizing your life. And she talks about organizing your things in these certain ways. She has a method where you'll never have clutter again if you stick to this. And also helping you to release things, like the process by which you release things, judging on whether they spark joy for you or not. So bringing clarity and coherence to your surroundings is a big piece of this. And, there are many ways that can happen. There could be someone or something in your environment that is bringing less coherence. And they could be, that could be eclipsed out, or something could be shifted, or you could have a major inner shift that could drastically change how you structure your external environment. Supplement regimens and other daily practices, including spiritual practices, can also come in a big way during a 6th house or Virgo eclipse cycle. So someone could find a meditation practice and really get into it, or go deeper into it, or anything like that, where it could come in a big way if it's brand new, or it can end and shift into something else. Anything that has to do with our daily experience. I hope you feel very prepared now for eclipse season and understanding what kinds of changes may be ahead for you. Definitely go to my website, anniehelpsyou.com, to check out all of my astrology blogs and all of my other goodies there, including when you sign up for my free email newsletter, you will get a month early a written general transit report, including all of the notable aspects, the dates of the aspects, and what you can expect from each. And you'll also get my 28-day virtual coaching program called Shine for free when you sign up for my free email newsletter, besides other goodies there. If you want written horoscopes by me, go to cozybysweetstarlight.com, and all of the links that I give you are also in the notes underneath. If you just click more underneath the video, you'll see all the websites there. So at cozybysweetstarlight.com, I have lifestyle blogs for healthy living, and I also have written horoscopes, again, up 1 month early, so you can check out what else is going on for your sign 1 month early. If you'd like to learn astrology and you resonate with how I teach, then definitely check out my astrology apprenticeship program, also at anniehelpsyou.com. I hope you have a wonderful month, and I hope you have a wonderful eclipse season. Definitely check out my horoscopes, my individual horoscopes for each sign for you on my YouTube channel, Annie Botticelli YouTube. You can check out my monthly reports. I always have them up a month early. And definitely also check out the November report, because I do talk about the December eclipse and its manifestations in there. And those eclipse manifestations can echo out, January, February, even March, beyond. So to have a good understanding about where the first eclipse hit, you can check out my November report, where I go into lots of details about that for you. I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month. Bye.